It's time for ProAm Predictions.
Hello and welcome back to ProAm Predictions. I am Paul Oita and I am on the amateur side, and joining me again this week from the professional side is Ryan the Hulk Spillane. How are you doing, Ryan?
Great. How are you?
Very good. We have a big week of Irish MMA.
Just MMA in general, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair. But there's been lots happen. Myself and Liam discussed it on the podcast with Brian Moore's fight being announced. You have Kiefer's fight was announced.
Yeah.
Palahan got signed to Combatche Global. All big things for Irish MMA, and it just so happens
that Conor's
to come on this week when Conor is fighting in the main event. Look, realistically, this show is going to be half an hour of us talking about Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, and we'll rattle through the rest of the card.
Yeah, we'll just kind of slowly, we'll do an in-depth talk of Conor and Poirier, and then do like 10 seconds of the rest of them.
Yeah, but we did say we're going to give picks on everyone on this card, for a bit of fun, and we'll see how we get on.
It's a good card as well.
Yeah, it is. So I suppose, look, we'll dive right into it. Dustin and Conor 3. What? I suppose, look, everyone's asking the questions about the leg kicks and how Conor is going to change and how it's different from the second fight. For you, is that the biggest point going into this? Or are we back to before the second fight, just with Conor, a different approach slightly?
I talked this already, and like Conor going into the last fight was preparing to fight boxing. Like he was getting ready for that Pacquiao fight. There's no doubt. Like he even said himself after fight, he was getting ready to fight Pacquiao.
Yeah. That's
the reason he had all the boxers. He was doing boxing sparring. He had all the boxers there. He had some MMA guys. He had Nikolai Solai. He had Costner Guerrero and all them. But like he was sparring boxing. Like he had his headgear on, boxing sparring, and it immediately shown when he fought. His legs were very close together. He was putting a lot of. It wasn't the karate Conor, that wide stance. Yeah. The stance he's knocked people out with. And like immediately there, like for myself, if I ever sparring a boxer and we're doing MMA sparring, I'm chopping the legs.
Yeah.
All their weights on the legs because I'm not used to getting kicked. Conor forgot about the kicks and was because he hadn't been sparring. Let's say if he was sparring boxers, they weren't going throwing leg kicks at him.
Yeah.
So we didn't have the Conor that normally fights. We had a boxing Conor. We had Conor that fought Mayweather. We had that Conor, and look. He was lighting Dustin up before the kicks started landing. He was like there was point where he had Dustin against. He was landing nice shots.
I would argue the first round. There's a lot of people say he was lighting him up. I would argue it was a very competitive round. Conor was probably eking it.
It was, but that was Conor with a boxing stance.
Yeah.
Imagine Conor when he's throwing kicks in there and he's actually firing proper. And then you look at Conor then for this camp, and you look at the guys he brought out. He brought out Kiefer Crosby. He brought out Keane Cowley. Two lads who are not going to give him an easy spare. Yeah, they're not going to go in there and just.
And you've Lee Hammond, you have Peter Queally.
Like these aren't guys who are going to go easy on him. These guys are going to put a fight. Like I reckon half the rounds he did with those lads could have sold with papers. About it, like
Yeah.
And then you look at the way Conor's acting as well. Like that's the big thing for me is how he acted. And it's the Conor we got for like the Aldo fight. Like, did you see the voice note he sent him the other day?
It was really weird. It was creepy as all hell. I thought
it was the funniest thing ever. Calling P-Head and being like, I'm coming. Or he tweeted being like, first word to shoot for takedowns, a bitch. Stuff like that. That's the Conor that fought Aldo and it just crucified Aldo.
He understands this time that mind games were actually a big factor in the first fight.
He was he was nice. He was going into the fight. He was like, we'll donate and all that. He wasn't vicious towards Dustin. Not the first time they fought, where Dustin literally Dustin wanted to kill him the first time around. Like Dustin was angry. Yeah. Like what's Dustin's coach called with the beard again? Mike something. Mike Brown.
Yeah, Mike Brown.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. He was saying that like he was kind of scared going to the first fight because he was like Dustin's really angry. He's after getting something out of him.
He's emotional. Yeah.
And I think the Conor here now, like especially little things Conor done, like when he went off and donated to another charity from Dustin's area, doing the same thing Dustin's doing, but just didn't donate to his charity. Little things like that, like little picks at him.
Yeah,
I think I haven't really seen anything for fight week because I'm also myself like I'm just training to wall. I'm just going between work and training, so I haven't really seen most stuff that's been done, like interviews and stuff this week. But I think we're getting that Conor that's fiery,
There hasn't actually been much. I know there's probably a new Embedded up today. But
yeah.
I haven't seen much of the first 2 episodes of Embedded as far as I've gotten so far, and Conor hasn't appeared on it yet.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think he's actually doing much by way of media right now.
He's probably still in LA now.
Yeah, and like,
Where's
but
the
they know
where's the fight again? Is the fight in the Fight Island or is it on in Apex?
it's on Vegas in
Oh,
the
yes,
T-Mobile Arena.
Oh
and
yes, yes.
this is another factor, but I'll get to it. But what I want to ask you first is, given everything that you were saying there, do you think Conor underestimated Dustin Poirier going into the second fight? Because I think there was an element of, I've beaten this kid once before, I can play nice with him, and I know I can beat him. Now, obviously, the stance played a big factor into it, but I think mentally as well, Conor went in with the wrong mind frame, which is rare for Conor. He went in with the wrong mind frame of, this is a guy I know I can beat. I've done it before. If I hit him, he'll go down. And like we've seen Dustin Poirier since that first fight and what he's done at lightweight, and some of the big hitters in that division have found his chin and still not being able to take him out. And if anything, that's when Dustin Poirier looks most impressive, when he's in that firefight and when they start to trade hands. That's when Dustin turns it on completely and looks like a different beast at lightweight. Do you think he underestimated him slightly?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of underestimating, but it was also the fact that he kind of dismissed the fight.
Yeah.
So he was past it. He was like getting ready to Pacquiao fight. So
Yeah.
in his head, he was already thinking ahead. And as a fighter, if you're already thinking about what's next, you're not in the frame of this fight, you know. So I think that was more a factor. He was kind of already, the fight was already won, and he was
Yeah.
getting ready for the next fight, you know.
Yeah.
But you can't be doing that.
No, 100%. And the thing I wanted to ask you there was, so this is in T-Mobile Arena, and it's the first one back in Vegas with full crowd. We're talking, I think it's 20,000+ to get into the T-Mobile Arena, and we know in Vegas on a Conor week, it's bananas. It's going to be very partisan crowd in Conor's favour. And I know Dustin is much more savvy veteran than he was the first time they fought. But do you think the weigh-ins, and you know Conor McGregor weigh-ins the day before, the crowd are going to be at it, and do you think walking out for the fight, do you think that's going to play a factor in this fight mentally for Dustin?
I'll hit you with another one. Because of COVID, there's not going to be... I know there's a lot of Irish in America already.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be the guys getting out the credit union loan to go out to Conor's fight.
No.
So it's going to be a different kind of crowd. And then Conor's kind of like public view has changed a lot since we've had like the big crowds. Again, people still love him, but a lot of people hate him. I think it won't play. I think obviously there'll be a huge, like it'll be like 60-40. I personally think. I think it'd be like, I think people like, look at when he went in against Khabib, everyone was for Khabib, like, you know.
When Conor fought Khabib?
Yeah. Oh, everyone
There
was
was small numbers were for Khabib.
really
Small numbers.
I remember looking back at that fight and everyone was like, I hope Conor beats him, like.
Yeah, so we're talking about outside perspective,
Yeah.
and I'm talking in arena.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
difference between the Conor fans is they buck up and they buy tickets.
Yeah.
And whether they're Irish or Irish American,
Yeah.
the Irish Americans go, they travel with their flags,
yeah.
and they come in numbers, and they're vocal, they're loud. They support Conor in the arenas at weigh-ins, and they make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get something very similar. I know public perception of Conor has changed massively over the years.
But they said the Conor fans took him out. But then, hit you with another one. The first fight was in Dublin.
No, first fight was it was in Vegas. It was on the DC and Jones card.
Was it on Dublin?
187, I want to say.
No? So
187.
who did he fight in Dublin?
Diego Brando.
Oh, yeah.
That was before
In my head, I thought it was Dublin.
Yeah.
But then, okay, so in my head, still the point goes across.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Irish there for that fight, the first fight.
Massive.
So,
yeah.
like, I think Dustin is used to that. He's used to big crowds, and he has fought in big crowds as well, like, since then. Like, so
Yeah.
I don't think it plays a factor. I think we have a very veteran Poirier now, you know.
Yeah.
He's very calm as well. Like, I think the trash talk and stuff won't play as much as it did to the young Poirier we had.
He's not going to be as emotional about it.
But
for
I
sure.
still think Conor is still picking at him, like.
I agree, but the one thing about the first fight, the very first fight, 187, while Conor did have a good contingent there, Conor wasn't the star he was until it was really 189 when he was fighting for the title that we went. Remember the weigh-ins and everything that was going on, and we were like, "Oh shit, this guy's
small kind of
taking
crowd
over."
the whole time. Yeah, but it was.
But so before the first fight when he fought Dennis Seaver, Diego Brando being the first one because it was in Dublin. That was very partisan. But when he fought Poirier the first time, yes, they seemed to be in Conor's favour, but not the whole audience.
Yeah.
I just think, I know Poirier has fought in front of huge crowds and loud crowds, but I don't think, I certainly don't think, from my memory, Poirier has ever been booed on a walk, or that he's ever had people chanting or whatever against him. I think that might play a factor mentally in this one.
I don't think so, because Poirier came through a very rough kind of pro scene at the start of his career. You know, I'd say he's used to the booing crowds and he's used to all that kind of crack. I don't think that plays a factor. I think it's we have a very experienced Poirier right now. Like, so I think I don't think it plays a big factor. I think that the factor is what happens during fight week now, like what Conor does, like, because you never
get
know.
under his skin.
I presume there's going to be a big post conference.
I don't know anything about a pre-fight press conference.
I presume there has to.
There has to be. But I haven't seen anything on that there's anything pre-booked or no. I'm a little bit out of touch with what's happening with the other platforms. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen any like ready to go pre-fight press conference, and that's normally built up a few days in advance. I assume they will do something, but I don't think it'll be of the extent that we used to see Conor on the dais with and they're giving him the full platform to just go to town. I don't know if we'll get that.
So then, next question I have for you. You have one win Conor, one win Dustin. Does this fight end the trilogy, and then winner fights Olivier? So
the funny thing about this trilogy is they both have a knockout already.
Yeah.
So it's null and void.
Yeah.
In my opinion. If this turns into a war and goes 5 rounds, I don't see that. Look, they're both finishers. I don't see it, but it is still possible.
Yeah, no,
if it goes 5 rounds, there's nothing to say that we don't get this fight again down the road. But I think if Poirier knocks out McGregor, we don't see it again. If McGregor knocks out Poirier, we don't see it again.
Yeah.
I think this is the rubber match. I think both guys are towards the end of their career, and they're going to be on very different trajectories after this.
Yeah.
Poirier, obviously, he's still right at the top of that division. McGregor needs this victory to stay at the top of the division. But I can't see Poirier being given a shot when Conor picks and chooses his opponents. Let's be fair. If Conor wins this, goes on, picks up the belt, he's not going to give Poirier a crack at him.
No.
He knows how dangerous an opponent he is, and I just don't see that happening.
So then, let's say Conor wins, fights Charles. Does Poirier fight Chandler?
Yeah, there's so many options there for him. You have Chandler. I would love to see the Gaethje fight again. Do you know? And there's some guys coming up there like Islam Makhachev. You
forget about Gaethje the whole time, like he's just always just so quiet, like.
Yeah, you have Islam Makhachev is coming up there. Yeah. You have who broke into the top 6 there recently with the win over Ferguson. Why is it not in my head?
Oh yeah, I know. He broke his arm.
Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush should be a cracking fight. You have Gregor Gillespie's thereabouts. There's lots of good fights there for Poirier after this. Like, I know there was some talk recently that he might be moving to 170. I don't like that move for Poirier. I think...
at the end of his career, he only has, like, I'd say max 4 to 5 fights left in him.
Unless he picks up the belt, and I think he would hold on to it as long as...
Do you think so?
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think... I think he retires on top. I think if he wins the belt, I think he does 2 defences and retires.
Oof.
I think he has the charity. He's kind of on the... I think the way he's fighting now, it's kind of like he's looking for that big kind of like...
Yeah. Well, he's proven that the belt isn't the be-all and end-all right now. The fact that he was given the choice, belt or Conor, and he picked Conor. It's the smart move.
Oh,
it's money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Money in the bank, and he has a young family.
Let's get down to the big question. How we seeing the victory? And who we seeing winning?
Look, my first... When we go back to January, my prediction going into this, like most people, I was dismissive enough of Poirier's chances. But I did say Poirier is going to come out and he'll have a good game plan and he'll be smart in the opening 2 to 3 minutes. I was like, there's no way McGregor is going to go out and do what he did the first time because Poirier is such a smart fighter. Yeah. Everyone seems to be under the illusion. The big question is, how does McGregor stop the leg kicks? I don't think that's the big question. I think Dustin Poirier comes with a new game plan again. Again, he's a very smart fighter. It could be chain wrestling. It could be whatever. But we're seeing the old McGregor return. I think it'll be... I'm going back to my prediction from January, where it's mid to late second round, possibly third round KO for McGregor. But outside of that, I could very easily see a 5-round war as well. I know people are saying that it's not likely because Conor fades, Poirier pours it on late. But... We saw what happened in the second fight with Nate Diaz.
Yeah,
Conor can fade and get a second wind and come back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule it out.
I'd agree with you. I would definitely see, but I would see a first or second. I wouldn't, in my opinion, if it goes past second round, if it goes in third or fourth, it's
Dustin's fight. Yeah,
it's his fight. I feel that's where he can work better.
Yeah,
and we know Conor works better in first, second. He doesn't work better as it goes on, Joe.
Yeah,
he still can fight.
Yeah,
but it's not as good.
Yeah,
Dustin can start pouring on then. So I see either a lovely first round KO.
Yeah.
Or second round TKO.
Yeah.
And if it goes past second round, if it goes third, I feel it's the fight's over then. I feel like Dustin's going to put it on then. And it'll get dirty. It'll get really like dirty boxing, kind of maybe a takedown. I don't really see it, but I see definitely some dirty boxing, and then like some enclosed clinch work kind of stuff, like
putting him against the cage and going to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
My thing with Poirier being a much smarter fighter, would it make sense for Poirier to just come out and wrestle with him for 2 rounds to get him into that deep water and put himself not in as much risk in the first 2 rounds? There was an argument made about the fact that he got the easy takedown after 30 seconds against McGregor.
Yeah.
But that goes back to boxing stance and the fact that he wasn't expecting a takedown. We saw McGregor's defense of the opening takedown from Khabib, and he fought it for nearly a minute. And it was probably the best we've seen.
Mendes as well.
Yeah.
Mendes couldn't take him down.
He struggled big time until he finally got to turn the corner on one of his single legs.
People keep forgetting Conor's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu under John Kavanagh.
Yeah.
John Kavanagh doesn't hand out belts.
Yeah.
Not even the superstars.
Yeah.
John doesn't care. He'll give the belt.
You earn it.
Yeah, you earn it. He's not a fella to train the gi, Joe. He's not a fella going off the IBJF, but he's a brown belt and a solid brown belt at that. And then you look at all the guys he's wrestling. He's wrestling lads like I know Sergey hasn't been out in this camp now, but like he's done like his last 7 or 8 camps with Sergey, like an unbelievable wrestler. For this camp, he had Costa out with him. He had like unbelievable wrestlers, you know. Like people keep forgetting that, like obviously he got taken down, like, but as we say again, he wasn't
expecting it.
He wasn't a boxing stance.
Yeah,
he's some solid wrestling defense there. Like he stopped he stopped Khabib, you know, like who is.
He stopped Khabib for as long as you can stop Khabib.
Yeah. But like no one else stopped Khabib that well, like, you know, he stopped him the best that he could, like. Yeah. But like he stopped Khabib, you know, like that's the best of the best, like, you know. I don't think Poirier could take him down again, knowing that like Conor knows that like he's gonna shoot for a kind of thing, like, you know, because Conor obviously knows well like that, like his game plan isn't gonna be come out and throw leg kicks, you know. Yeah. He's won with that already. He's not gonna do the same thing twice. You know?
I think he'll go to that well, but not to the same fervor he did it the first time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He'll have different tricks that he wants to work with.
Fully.
And I have this feeling that chain wrestling is a part of Poirier's game plan for the first couple of rounds. We're going to move on to the co-main event, which is another phenomenal fight in the welterweight division. Yeah. You have Gilbert Burns taking on Steve Thompson. Burns obviously coming off the loss to Usman. And an interesting one here. Burns has no win over anyone in the top 10, in the currently top 10 in the welterweight division, which is kind of bananas. The guy was on a 6-fight win streak before the last to Usman, but he's a win over Woodley, who was just after dropping outside the top 10.
Woodley's gone.
Well, when he was there.
Yeah.
Sorry. But he had the win over Damian Maia, he'd win over Gunnar Nelson, all guys that were just outside the top 10 at the time. But it's kind of speaks to the way the welterweight division is right now. None of them want to fight each other.
Yeah.
We've Leon Edwards getting up there, and he's fought one guy in the top 10, or 2 guys in the top 10. And one of them was ages ago, Vicente Luque.
Yeah.
They're not fighting each other. Stephen Thompson's the only guy that has been fighting top 10 guys. He has 3 wins over top 10 guys.
Yeah.
And he has to be next for the title. But it's a tough fight with Gilbert Burns in there.
I think so.
And it could be Thompson's kryptonite. Look, I have Thompson picked in this, having to win by KO. But I mean, we look at Gilbert Burns, is not afraid to throw hands. He's not afraid to get in there with anybody really and throw hands. He did it with Usman.
And his striking has improved immely in the last year. Like, really good. Like,
he had Usman hurt in the first minute of that fight.
Absolutely.
But with that, like, lack of fear on the feet and getting inside and cutting angles, we know if this fight goes to the mat, realistically, Burns has a huge advantage. Similarly, you'd argue Thompson has a big advantage on the feet technically, but I think with Burns' style, the kind of in and out and make it ugly, it's a much closer fight than people make out. I think this is Thompson's toughest fight to get to the belt. I think he's got a bit of a raw deal in the amount of people he's had to fight to get there. But do you think the winner of this, regardless of who it is, gets the title shot?
No. I think if Thompson wins, he gets belt.
Yeah.
If Gilbert wins, I don't think
it's a hard sell.
Yeah. Like, but who else then can you give it to realistically? Like,
they'll probably give it to Colby or Leon Edwards.
Is Colby getting it now? I thought he
supposedly Colby's next, but they've said the winner of this is next as well, so you don't know.
Yeah. Definitely, I definitely see Thompson win this fight, and then on the flip of that, I also see Thompson beating Usman.
Oof.
Yeah, I think
that's a big shout.
I think the way Thompson beats Burns will be the exact same way he beats Usman.
It's such a big shout. Like, yes, technically on the feet, Thompson outclasses both of them. And
if you look at the way Burns fights, it kind of is similar enough to Usman. Like their striking is kind of, it's a basic enough jab. It's getting in a right hand kind of thing. Like, but looking for a takedown, you know. But
do you put no emphasis on the new Usman we've seen that with Trevor Whitman in his corner? His striking is getting crisp.
Okay, it's good, and he did crack Masvidal, but then like it was just basic. It was it was a perfect shot. I think Masvidal was tired as well when he
fundamentals win fights though.
Absolutely, but also spinny shit wins fights too.
Fair enough. Yeah. And we know what Thompson's capable of. Yeah. I personally think Thompson wins this fight as well, but taking the belt, I think it's a step too far right now. I think
and Liam was going to back me up on this. Yeah. Liam agrees with me. We think stylistically Thompson is the best matchup for Usman. Because the rest of them are just all carbon copies of each other. They're all striking wrestlers.
They're wrestlers with okay boxing. That's it.
There's no supreme strikers there, and Thompson is. But then Thompson wrestling, defense, and jiu-jitsu isn't fantastic.
No,
it's okay,
but not at their level.
No, not at all. Like if Usman or Gilbert gets hands on hips, like it's game over. Like but I think to get hands on hips, like it's very hard. You
put yourself in a world of danger going in there with Thompson.
You look at the best example I have is when Lewis fought Beyblades. I keep calling them Beyblades. It's blades, I know, but it's Beyblades. Beyblades in my head. All Curtis wanted was a takedown. All he wanted, and all Lewis did is stood back, had his hands here,
cocked his right hand,
and just boom. All Thompson's a bit different because he'll be looking for a kick more than a punch. But it's the exact same thing. He's just cocking his legs and waiting, and then boom, he'll catch him.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not forget.
Or we could have an absolute boring fight, and it was the Thompson-Woodley fight. You know, it was really boring. The two of them just stay on the outside, and it was boring. You know.
Yeah.
We could get that.
I don't see that with Burns, because Burns is very much a come forward fighter. Whereas Woodley wanted to stay on the outside and like that have his hand cocked, waiting to go. The one thing to point out as well, Thompson's two losses of late are Pettis and Till. Two strikers. He's done very, very well against the grapplers and against the people that are supposed to give him problems. So he's figuring that world out very quick. But again, I struggle to see how he beats Usman. But that's the story for another day.
That's the story for Sunday when we talk about that.
I still think Hamzat's the man, but we'll get to that on Sunday.
Do you want to play your little noise there?
No, I'm definitely okay. That's Liam's trigger. Right, the next one, which I'm so fucking excited for. I'm excited because it's a Conor card, but I mean, we've got Taito Vassa on the verge of cracking Greg Hardy's skull. I am so excited. This is as good as the main event for me. I'm as excited about it. My big fear though is I've done a bit of digging on this because I've been so dismissive of Hardy. It's a lot closer fight than I would like to make out. And as much as I don't like Hardy, if I put that aside, both guys are in a similar position where they're outside the rankings of a weakish division. They've both struggled with anyone above them, but they've both butchered most below them. So they're both kind of on that precipice. We're going to find out who's probably worthy of a top 15 spot, or they might not get rankings right now, but who's worthy of a fight up there.
And who's getting caught as well. Like, I think like the person that loses this is kind of on the chopping board. They're
both like, look, Tuivasa has 2 wins, so it won't be right now, but it's hard if whoever loses it, it's hard to see where they go next. Definitely.
But then if you look at them, they both kind of fight the same as well. Like they're both out of shape heavyweights. Like they both gas. Like
but I mean, surely Greg Hardy's not going to stand there and bang with Tuivasa. That can't be his game plan.
What's he going to do? Is he going to shoot for a takedown?
He's going to double leg him. The dude used to be a defensive linebacker. Like, he's a big unit.
Yeah, he is.
And I know Vassa has that low center of gravity, and he's tricky. But if you get him on his back, he's done.
Yeah.
He's like a beached whale.
Yeah.
There's no getting back up.
Yeah.
Look, personally, obviously, I'm picking Vassa, and I'm doing my shoey on Sunday after the win.
Like, I'm the same as you. I'm picking him as well. But then if you look at the fight, like, for me, they're not exciting heavyweights. They're not like normally when you see heavyweights, they're like, heavyweights. Like, these aren't. Like, it could be like Vassa could do come out there and just throw a shot and cut back out hardy. And that's what we all want to see. Like, but like, if this goes 2 or 3 rounds, it's going to be absolutely boring. Like,
it's going to be awful if it gets past the first round.
Awful. Yeah. And it's just again.
But I go back to Vassa and Justin Tapia for me. Those two guys are like the new answer to Mark Hunt. Neither one of them is going to be fighting elite level guys like Mark Hunt was doing it.
Yeah.
But Mark Hunt was win one, lose one, win one, lose one.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining to watch. That's what these two boys bring to the division. I don't think either is going to be a world champion. No, but God damn it, they're going to be in exciting-ish fights for the first round. But like you say, if it goes outside the first round, it's a struggle.
Mark Hunt had some boring fights too as well. Like, you know.
He had a couple of wars with was it Bigfoot Silva that went the distance, and they were phenomenal, but they're exceptions to the rule.
But then most they're either unbelievable KOs or him just getting battered.
Yeah, and it's a tough watch.
Yeah, they're new hunts.
Look, I'm picking Vassa, and I hope I get to do my shoey on Sunday.
But it has to be a first round TKO.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. Next one up, you have a very good fight in the bantamweight division. Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunichika. And I talked with Liam about this. We kind of did a preview show on Sunday. For me, even though both girls are a little bit outside, like Holly Holm, GDR are above them, Aldana's actually coming off the loss to Holm. Whoever wins this for me is probably next in line for a title. Purely because the lack of depth in the division.
Yeah.
And you can't keep recycling the Holm GDR thing when both girls are getting smashed by Nunes, but both girls are smashing anyone below them. And it's made that division really stale. They need to find something new to do there. Maybe match those two girls up against Holm and GDR. But for me, if you're looking for someone who's up next after Lad, Irene Aldana and Yana Kunichika are probably the two that are closest. I don't think either are ready for Nunes.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't a fucking clue who these girls are.
Can you remember a few Kunichika's last one against Caitlin Vieira? Caitlin Vieira played jiu-jitsu game and Kunichika beat her up from her back. Don't remember that? She landed vicious elbows and then she reversed her very late in the third round.
We talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I do know this. Oh yeah.
Kunichika is the girl that, even though argument she was being controlled for the whole fight, still did more damage and deservedly won the fight.
I know this one. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I don't know the other girl though, but look.
Yeah, look, and Aldana, she's a slick striker. It's kind of striker versus grappler-ish. But neither are, very, very good in that world. I would pick Aldana by decision, but it's razor close. And
I'm gonna pick Yana because she's Russian.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I mean, it's not a bad show. Plus, we've seen what she's capable of, even when she's under pressure. So I just think if it stays on the feet, Aldana probably has more tools.
Yeah.
We move on to the bantamweight division, and you have Sean O'Malley versus Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
Chris Moutinho, and this one. Look, what's annoying me now is Sean O'Malley's getting a lot of hate because of the matchmaking, and I don't think it's his fault.
No.
He's calling for guys. He wants top 15 guys.
He called out Cruz, like.
Yeah, and it's a case that they keep putting guys in front of him that he should beat. And this is no disrespect to Louis Smolka. Louis Smolka wasn't the opponent he should have gotten.
No.
He should have been getting top 15. That's who he's calling for. And with the star power he has, whether worthy of it or not, he needs to be put into those fights. I think the UFC are protecting Sean O'Malley a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is only going one way. He's going to absolutely butcher this guy. This will be one of the upsets of the century if Chris Moutinho comes in and pulls this off.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, this is going to be an absolute butcher. This is his debut in the UFC as well, man, Chris. Like, it's not the debut you want in the UFC, like, you know?
Not at all. He's on a 2-fight win streak, but previous to that, he was KO'd twice. And we know, and one of those was just a straight left hand. He left himself open. we know how slick Sean O'Malley's boxing is. Half a chance, half a sniff of your chin, and Sean O'Malley's going to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
And there's not too many guys doing that at bantamweight.
No, not at all.
So,
But then, on the flip side of this this fella is getting signed for the UFC, fighting a superstar.
win.
Oh, like, he loses, all right, cool. The UFC will still probably keep him realistically. Maybe cut him, I don't know. They might keep him, have him fight a few other guys.
But everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
The wish Sean O'Malley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But he'll use his fight to get a bit of bargaining power for himself, like, you know. If he goes in there and puts on an absolute war, if he loses, perfect for him, you know.
We've had this discussion multiple times before.
Yeah.
If we look at when Tony Ferguson's opponent dropped out and they brought in Lando Venata, who was a nobody, and what a fucking fight that turned out to be. You had Khabib, who was the champion to be. His opponent fell out. I think it was Michael Johnson or somebody.
He
but
fought
Daryl Harcher.
No, remember he fought real estate fella. Czech Lambo.
Aloy Kenta.
Yeah, that was a pullout as well.
But I'm talking about people that were debuting in the UFC against superstars.
Yeah.
And Daryl Harcher came in, and look, Daryl Harcher got Khabib'd.
Yeah.
But he got Khabib'd no worse than the rest of them got Khabib'd.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like he hung around the UFC for a while.
This fella has absolutely everything playing for him. Like, he's getting a fight with one of the superstars, you know?
Yeah.
So
he's gonna have a name coming out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
The one thing, he needs to kind of make some bit of a fight of it. If it's a 30-second KO, I just think it makes everyone look bad and does nobody any favours.
No, absolutely.
And it's like, you have to feel for Sean O'Malley. When is he going to get? There was all the shit with Cheeto Vera, and we joked about Salty O'Malley instead of Sugar Sean O'Malley. But I think he's been trying, as much as he hasn't helped himself in the way he carries himself sometimes, but he has been trying to get that opponent to right the wrong, but he's not been given the opportunity.
But even going off there, he did like a nice little video on call out Cruz.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Cruz needs a good fight like this, like, you know.
Cruz shouldn't be in a position where he's looking to fight up the division either.
Yeah, Cruz can't say no to a fight in a superstar, you know.
Yeah.
For Cruz, he gets to put a superstar back in his box, you know.
Yeah,
that's
an up and comer, and it puts him back in the reckoning towards the top of that division.
Absolutely, earns him some points with the UFC as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why he turned down.
So do you think this continues, or do you think a win here, which means nothing to Sean O'Malley, just an extra win on his, probably put something on his highlight reel? Let's be realistic about
it.
Does he get that top 15 next?
Who do he get? Who's going to fight him? Do you know, they're all afraid.
But this is the point. There was a few people put their name forward for this fight.
They put their name forward, but did they actually sign the paper as a thing? Like, that's the question.
Well, I know Dwalishvili put his name forward for the fight, and that would have been a terrible matchup for Sean O'Malley. But there was another guy, I can't think off the top of my head now, but there was another top 15 guy, put his name forward, but said he wouldn't make the weight. He wanted to do it at a catch weight or at 145. And the UFC said, no, you either make the weight or we're finding someone else. And that's how Chris Matinho came to be. But as far as I know, Dwalishvili was willing to make the weight, willing to fight him.
Oh, yeah?
And that's where I think the UFC went,
no.
Yeah, he's going to get fucking ragdolled around like a child by Dwalishvili. Dwalishvili's a contender in that division. I
personally think that the fight they should make after this is definitely the Cruz. I think, what's a Cruz have to lose, you know?
But Cruz is one of the guys that's saying, I'm fighting up, I'm not fighting below me.
Yeah. I think
Cruz, I don't know where, look, he's a former champion, he's this, that, and other thing, but I don't think he's
got a bit
of
an ego these days, a bit of an ego.
Just remember all the shit with Keith Peterson and the referee.
And then all the shit then with Hans Molenkopf, and he wanted to fight him and shit.
He's acting the twat. He's always been a bit of a twat.
I think, but then, like, if you look at styles, that's
such a fucking good fight.
Two absolutely just unorthodox strikers fight her.
Problem is,
absolutely mental.
We've seen of late Cruz get TKO'd, get knocked out. It's a bad matchup for him, in my opinion.
What an absolute scalp for Sean to take before he kicks in there. Like,
be huge. And he does need that
a big
top
scalp.
10 or a Cruz or something.
He needs
like
it.
that.
Like what's he doing fighting these kind of guys' debuts in the UFC? Like, you know, makes no sense.
Yeah, but then again, it's on a Conor McGregor card.
Yeah, look.
It's Sean O'Malley. There'll be some interest in it in the sense that...
He'll make some fans off this again. Like.
Yeah, as always. Yeah. Right, so we're going to rapid fire the rest of the card.
Yeah.
There's some fucking phenomenal fights in the prelims. You've Max Griffin versus Carlos Condit.
A beautiful fight, like.
Yeah, phenomenal fight at 170. And I love the matchmaking because you've 35-year-old Griffin versus 37-year-old Condit. I don't want to see either guy fight a young killer.
Yeah.
But they're both still relatively relevant at 170.
I love Condit.
Yeah. You're going to hate my pick, so who have you got?
I'm going to say Condit.
Yeah, I have Griffin by decision. I just think he's looked phenomenal of late.
No, I think Condit by decision. I think it'll be a decision, but I think Condit wins. I think Condit irks it out a tiny bit.
Yeah. It's going to be close, though. I reckon it's going to be a war, and Griffin has gotten real good at bringing in the elbows. We saw what he did to Ramiz Ibrahimij.
Yeah.
So I butchered that name,
fight.
but his ear nearly came off, and we know what Condit's capable of doing with elbows and knees, so it could be a bloody one.
Look at the next fight, Nico Price versus Michael Pereira.
This is UFC's version of porn, is what this is.
Yeah. What a scrap.
It's gonna be
go.
Oh fuck! I've Pereira by KO, but I'm like, I couldn't give a fuck who wins this fight. No. This is just pure entertainment.
This is a fan's fight right now.
Yeah, 100%.
The next fight's interesting. It's a very interesting fight.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the few fights on this card that I'm a bit upset with the matchmaking.
Really?
Purely because Ryan Hall is one of those guys that he does what he does so well that it's hard. How many people has he leg locked? Let's just be real about it. And he can get in against anybody.
Yeah.
Find that ankle and it's done. And it's not even a fight. It's just I wizarded you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this is against a proper top contender. Poirier is one of the guys that, and I mean, we've seen some of the Georgians that are coming through and how good they are. You're talking Roman Delije, Giga Shikadze, Merab Dvalishvili.
Georgie in Bellator.
Yeah. These guys are legit. They're talking about Poirier like he's going to be a world champion. So that's all you need to be told. But he's gone in against Ryan Hall, and Ryan Hall could just completely upset the apple cart in 30 seconds. And I do have Hall picked by submission.
But then you also have Hall hasn't fought since 2019.
Yeah, I know, but
that's inactivity.
But Hall, it doesn't matter with Hall. Hall is going to go out. He's going to throw some awkward-looking spinning back kicks. He's going to throw some awful-looking boxing. And I mean...
And then just jump on a leg.
Horrendous boxing. And then Imanari roll.
Yeah, in for a leg lock. And
your man will go, it's okay, I've got good wrestling. I'll be able to get out of this.
Pop, and he goes.
And bang, it's done. And you're kind of looking at it and you're going, how does he do it every fucking time? You know what he's going to do.
No, yeah.
But you can't stop him.
Yeah.
I've Hall by submission, but I hope I'm wrong. Poirier is a big contender. And there's no disrespect to Hall. What he does is very good, but he's so one-trick pony that I don't want to see him win this fight.
I'm saying it's Hall by submission.
Yeah, and it's such a tough sell. I don't know.
Yeah. Next great too. This fella now, Duplessis, whatever his name is.
Dricus Duplessis.
He was, I want to say he was EFC's champion.
Yeah.
And he beat that fella from England.
Oh fuck, I don't know, but he was the KSW champion as well. He beat Roberto Soldic.
Oh yes, yeah.
And now Soldic got a victory over him after the fact and took the belt back off him. But Soldic, for those unfamiliar with him, is one of the best fighters outside of the UFC or outside of the big promotions.
KSW have some gems in there. Like.
Yeah. And Soldic is one of the top dogs there.
Yeah.
It's a mystery how he's never competed in UFC or Bellator.
He's happy with staying with KSW.
He's obviously getting paid a lot of money to do so. But Dricus Duplessis has a win over him. A very, very, very good kickboxer. Trevin Giles is a tricky one though. He's no joke. I do have Duplessis picked.
I'm the same.
But again, very, very close fight. Very interesting fight.
I'm going to say a decision.
Yeah, I have submission.
Oh.
Which is a strange one. But I think Trevin Giles' game plan here will be to take this to the mat. And I think Duplessis is going to just out-jits him down there. And Giles will get tired. I think it's a late submission.
The one fight I have memory from him was in he won the belt in EFC, and it was by guillotine. Went standing guillotine, jumped down, took the back, boom, came over.
No, his submissions are very slick. We talk about his kickboxing, but submission game is very slick.
Next fight's great as well.
Yeah. And this again, we talked about the ladies and the 135 pound division. This for me, the winner of this is arguably number one contender at 125 pounds. I know it's a tough sell. They both lost to the champ, but there's no one there yet to put their name in the hat.
Really?
There's a couple of girls around there that could argue, but they probably have to go through one of these. When you have number one and number two, or three possibly, fighting each other, it's hard to say that they're not the next contender. I know Lauren Murphy is going to stake her claim She's probably next.
Gonna get battered.
Yeah, exactly. But after that, you look at the division. Maia and Oita are the two closest to Shevchenko. Neither girl comes close to Shevchenko, but it's for all intents and purposes, it's a number one contender fight.
It's a great fight for the two of them.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah,
but to go anywhere from this fight is a tough sell.
But they're in a division. Yeah. It's the same as the two girls above.
Who are you picking?
I have Maia by decision.
Okay, I'm gonna go Oi. I'm gonna go Oi by decision.
And the weird thing here is I agree with you in the sense that Oya's a veteran.
Yeah.
She's probably got more tools in her locker.
Yeah. That's why I'm picking it, like.
But she's a bit of a moody, so she if she gets any bit kind of like under pressure or the toys go to the pram.
Yeah.
We've seen it from her a good few times now. And Maia was able to take a round off Shevchenko. It wasn't the most impressive thing in the world, but
just look around.
Even though she got butchered, she was able to make one round competitive enough to take a round. So I think she has the mentality to win this fight. Good fight though again. We go down the card and now we're stretching it a little bit. They've all been fantastic fights. Well, the next one isn't. OMalley Akhmedov versus Brad Tavares.
I see it's been a wrestle fuck.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think Ov takes down Brad Tavares.
I hope it's not. I think Akhmedov wins as well, but I hope it's not.
Yeah, look, come on.
Akhmedov can strike as well though. Akhmedov's striking isn't terrible. I think
but he's going to take him down and he's going
to grind him. Yeah. But this is the thing. I think Akhmedov would give Brad Tavares a lot of troubles as well on the feet. I think it's an interesting fight if they stay standing. I think but if Akhmedov decides to take it down,
he will though, like.
It's a fucking I have him by decision. But it's it could be a boring fight. I hope it's not. Then you have Kazakhstani Zalgas Zumagulov versus Jerome Rivera. And this is another fantastic fight. Both these guys, by the way, they're on the precipice of the rankings. Both of them have kind of fought tough competition. Their records don't look great, but they're both phenomenal.
13-5, 10-5, not great.
But, you want to see this Zumagulov striking. He is phenomenal. He's very, very good. And he's going against Jerome Rivera, who has that wrestling background, but he's decent striking.
Yeah, but Kazakhstan have unbelievable wrestling as well. So
they have a huge wrestling base, but he's a striker, I would say, first.
I'm going to pick Kazakhstan just because I know how much of a killer's there.
Like. I think I have him by decision, but those flyweights, they fucking they move.
Absolutely.
So I expect a lot of strikes in that one. And the final one, you have this one is a strange fight for me. You have Alan Abbadovsky of Macedonia taking on Yao Zhanghu of China, who is 3-2.
Is that really Macedonia? Because I was wondering what the flag was.
Yeah, Macedonia. Okay. We only discovered that on Sunday, actually, myself and Liam, when we were looking down. But yeah, this fight is a tough sell. How the fuck is this guy? They're both on two losses. They're both 0-2 in the UFC. And this guy signed a 3-0 Alan Abbadovsky. This is a stranger one again. Alan Abbadovsky was over in Bellator, got a win against Will Flory, had another big victory. He went 2-0 at Bellator, was looking like a contender, and then signed for the UFC 8-0 after 2 wins in Bellator. And he's gone 0-2. The other fella
has a fight on a Chinese MMA Super League twice, then Glory of Heroes, and then into the UFC then.
Which I don't know if you've ever seen the Glory of Heroes, but there's some toxic bad fights on there. I'm not saying all the fights are, but I've seen probably some of the worst MMA in my life from that
he's won by
particular card.
He's won by TKO on both of those anyway. So
and he came in with 3 stoppages. That was it. He was 3-0, 3 stoppages, but 2 losses.
But even three wins into the UFC, like that's kind of a bit.
I think loser here definitely leaves town. 0-3 in the UFC.
8-2,
but I think the winner will be booking a ticket shortly after them.
Think so?
Both are 0-2 in the UFC, and neither have looked that impressive.
Unless they have a super fight.
Yeah. I just think Amadovsky probably has more chances of surviving in the UFC, but they're still slim, in my opinion.
God. Look at that. We could have had Sean Brady versus Kevin Lee. What a fight.
I know. Yeah, even though a horrible fight, in my opinion, for Kevin Lee.
Oh, yeah.
I think Sean Brady's killer. And it's a pity they didn't keep him on that card as well, by the way, after Lee pulled up. Well, hopefully we see that fight soon. Okay, we do need to get to bets of the week because we're after going a full 45 here.
Go on, you go first.
All right, my bet of the week, it's going to be a very straightforward one. I have 3 KOs, Taito Vassa, Stephen Thompson, and Conor McGregor. I'm not overtly confident on any of them, except do you know what I mean? But I think it's good odds. it's right at the top of the card. It keeps your interest till the end of the night. So that would be my bet.
I'm
And yourself?
going to go big accumulator. I'm going to go Hall, Mega Pereira, Carlos Condit, Sean O'Malley, Taija Vassa, Thompson, Connor, and Duplessis. Big odds there. I think you're getting back. Since they put down €10, you're getting back like almost 1,500.
So you've
Big
150 to 1 odds.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, you might be rich after the weekend, so my bet won't make me rich, but at least I've got a chance.
The big accumulators are always, and like normally I'll always do a big accumulator on a big card. It's always like you lose 3 or 4 fights, you're like fuck.
Yeah.
With this now, like there's some guys there now that like certain shots, like
all of them have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a good bet. Like.
I wouldn't rule any out, definitely.
No, but still, it could. If they lose, you lose. Like
I think the Condit Griffin one is going to let you down personally. That's my shout.
Nah, Condit's natural born killer. Like, come on.
I know, but he's also fucking
old,
very old. He's way older than me, which is all you need to know. Pleasure having you on as always. We'll be back next week. We have
Bellator,
Islam Makhachev. We have Bellator next week, but we have Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises as well.
I want to say we have a PFL next week as well. Do we? No,
that's possibly the following week. I think. But they are coming up, the semi-finals. Oh no, that's not for a few weeks, but it's semi-finals that are next to a PFL. But we do have Bellator back again next week. It's been fun as always. Make sure and like and subscribe, all the good stuff. Follow us over on Facebook on the MMA Opinion. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again on Sunday night and next week.